Hello and welcome to another E2 tutorial video. In this video, we will be focusing on creating a shaded slope chart using Tableau. Our goal is to work on the Superstore dataset and create a slope chart that focuses on the profit gap between the product categories, which is technology and furniture. But first, I will explain what a slope chart is. A slope chart is used to show a before and after story of different values based on comparing their values at exactly 2 points in time. So from the slope chart we have on our screen, which is the final product of what I created, we can see the point in time at 2014 and 2017. And what we're interested in comparing is the profit gap between those 2 years for technology and furniture. We'll develop a slope chart to understand the profit gap in the technology and furniture category of the Superstore data. You can find the link in the description for the Superstore data, so you can download it, import it into Tableau, and follow along in what we'll be doing today. So let's go ahead and import the data into Tableau. All right, so I have imported the data set into Tableau, and all we need to do is drag the orders into the data model here, because that's the sheet we're interested in. And then you can see all the field names, the physical table, and the remote field. And here is our data in a spreadsheet format. So let's go over to sheet 1. Now, the first thing we want to do is to create a standard slope chart. And in order to do this, I needed to drag the order date to columns and then drag the profit to rows. Then we need to drag the category to detail and the order date to filters. And we make it years. Next, we're just interested in 2014 and 2017. All right, so we can see our slope chart or our standard slope chart is already taking shape. Now we need to create a calculated field that isolates the profit between the technology and furniture categories. To do this, I need to isolate their respective profits so a shaded area can be created. So I'll create a calculated field, and we'll call this first calculated field furniture profits. And we're going to use just a very simple if-else function or if-then function. Okay, so what we're saying here is that if the category is furniture, then extract the profit for furniture. If not, just end. So, okay, we'll duplicate this so that we can create a second one. Duplicate, edit. I will call this technology, and then change this here to technology. Okay. All right. So that's all we need to do there. Now we will drag those two newly created calculated fields for furniture and technology profit into the rows. So let's drag our furniture profit into row, and then we'll drag the technology profit into the y-axis of the second chart. So here is our technology. So we're dragging it here, right? This is where you put it. So we'll put it there, and you should be getting your chart like this. Now, this window looks really small, so I could just put it here and increase it a little bit so I get more, area to work with. And then also you can see that once I put that technology profit in this y-axis, we get a measure value which combines the furniture and the technology profit together because they're both on the y-axis. Now, because they're both profit, we're going to, make it a dual axis and synchronize both charts so they have the same units for the y-axis. So to do that, right-click on the y-axis, select dual axis, and then right-click again and select synchronize axis. So we can see that both. So the dual axis, when you click on it, it creates another axis on the opposite side. And then the synchronized axis ensures that you have the same axis units for both sides. So you can see this is 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000 units on both sides. So the next thing I want you to do is go on the measure values and we'll remove the category here. So you can either just click on this drop down arrow and remove, or you could just drag it out and that's it. So that way so let me undo. If you notice we had some nulls here, right? We don't want that. So we remove the category, it takes out that nulls. Now the next thing I want you to do is on the measure values, let's change this to an area chart, right? So you should have it looking like that once you change it to an area chart. And then we would just rearrange this and make the technology profits first. Okay, that's what we want there. The technology profit should come first, then the furniture profit. And I'll go to my measure names here on the legend and we'll edit the colors. So I want the furniture to be gray. Technology to be blue, and my profit to be red. All right, so I can apply and okay. So this is what you get at the end of the day. All right, so we're right on track. Now the next thing is we need to create a calculated field that would subtract the profit. So since we're using an area chart, we want the technology, you can see that the technology profit is being stacked on top of the furniture profit, right? So which is pushing the shaded area. You can see the shaded area is kind of outside this line here, right? Which represents one of the profits. So, so to fix this, we need to subtract the furniture profit from the technology profit. And we can do that by creating a calculated field, right? Or editing one of our measure values. So on the technology profit, I need you to just click edit in shelf. So right click and then select edit in shelf. All you need to do is just put negative sum, and then you put the furniture profit in there. Okay, so that's all you need to do, right? So just hit enter and that's it. So now you can see that that shaded area doesn't exceed the technology um, category, right? That's basically what we want. Now we'll create um, another calculated field that helps us to use color to compare the different categories. So create a calculated field. I would call it color dimensions to compare. And then we're just using an if else function. So if category is equal to furniture or category equal to technology, then we wanted to put a color, else don't put any color. And so we want our color to just be focused on those two categories, which is what we're interested in, right? So that's why we're writing this if else function. So apply, okay. Then what I want you to do is drag the color dimension that we have created and put it in the color shelf of the sum profit, right? So make sure you select the sum profit, and this is where you would put that color dimensions. So put that there. Right, so you can see that here, right? So you can see it here for the color dimension. Now, what I would do is we change this no color to gray. So edit colors, go to gray, put it there. Apply. All right, so that's what we want. So you can see that it grays out this line here because it's office supplies and we don't want it, right? Previously, it was an orange color, right? But we want people's attention to just focus on the first line here, um, which is for technology, and the second line, which is for furniture. Now the next thing we'll do is come to color, and let's select the line part here. And that's that. And would increase the size of the line a little bit, all the way to the 50%, right? So that's, yeah, for it to look like that. Okay. So make sure you did that on the sum profit, right? That's where you increase the line on sum profit. And then we just need to, format and clean up remove the headers, remove the grid lines, remove the y-axis labels because we don't need that, right? Then we need to make sure that all of our profit, our zero decimal places, we have our currency symbol there, and then we're using thousands to summarize um, our profit, which is represented as K for thousands. So let's do all of this edit. Let's start by removing the headers. So to remove the header, which is this here, just click on it. So right click on it and select hide field labels for columns. And then for your grid lines, right click anywhere on the chart, format, come here, make sure you go to rows and just say none, columns, none, right? You can see that all the grid lines have been removed. Now for the borders, because we don't need the borders too, go to the next one, which is for borders. You can go to the sheet and then just make everything none, right? So you can see all the borders are out. Now let's remove um, the y-axis labels. So right click, untick the show header, right? It would automatically take out the headers for both the left and the right hand side. Now, the next thing I want us to do is to make sure that our profit is represented in thousands, and also we have the dollar sign there. So we can come on profit, go to format. We could say pane, make it currency custom, 0K. So you can see that profit is 40K there. Would work on all those other ones to make sure it's 40K as well. So on the aggregate for technology, right click, format as well, change that to currency custom. This display unit thousands. All right, so you can see it's 48K there too, 16K. All right, so okay, now remaining the furniture profit, we'll do the same thing there as well, currency custom. Okay. All right, so 5K, 3K, and so on. All right, so we have all of that taken care of there in terms of formatting and ensuring that we're using the right symbols. So the next thing we have to do is to go to the measure values and reduce the opacity. We don't want this shaded area to be like the blue to be so thick. So go to your measure values, color, reduce the opacity to 20%. Right. So once we do that, you can see that just reduces that opacity and sets the transparency for us to 20%. So the next thing is I want to show all of those numbers for the profit on our chart, right? So to do that, go back to the sum profit max card and then drag profit into label, right? So we have all of that, all those values showing up there for us. So we have to make sure that we set it to, we want one decimal place, right, in this case, or we can leave it at 0 decimal places, but let's put the font size at 12 and then the color to be black. So font size, this is black, color 12. Sorry, font size 12 and then the color black. All right. So you can basically see that here. And then I want to make sure that my font size for my x-axis is also black as well. It's black and then 12. So this should be black and then 12. All right. So that is looking really good for us. Now, the other thing you notice is that it's showing us the values for office supplies, but we really don't want to see that, right? So what we can do here is that we can turn that off, right? So that it doesn't show it to us. So let's go back to the sum profit, go to your label, make sure that your show mark label is turned on, right? Then make it min max. Then it should be on category. Now you can see that we no longer see the values for office supply as our data labels showing, right? We don't really want to see it. We just want the focus to be on technology and furniture. So one other thing we could do is also edit the tooltip. So if I click on the tooltip here, so this is where I clicked on tooltip in the sum profit. Um, we could take out some things. So let's see. Right, we can take out this. We could take this out. Yes. So that whenever okay, so we need to do that for the measure values as well. To tip. So, you know what, we can come back here and just copy what we have here. So I just Control A, Control C, right? Or better still, if we come to the tooltip here, we could edit it from here where it shows in everywhere. So just do the editing from the all. So let's do this. Yeah. So okay. Okay. So you can see because I've done it on the all marks card, right? It would show everywhere now, right? So that's that. Now we could as well just turn off the tooltip for office supplies, right? So that people don't get distracted by that one and we keep their focus on technology and furniture. So we can come to the sum profit and just, okay, this doesn't allow us to show it here. Okay, we can just leave it then since it doesn't allow us to show it. All right, but at least it's looking clean um, for us. So the next thing we want to do is just put a bit of explanation to tell the story. So click on the max card, right click, go to annotate, select point, and then we need to type this out. The, the profit gap between technology and furniture. So basically what I just did there is to take the difference between technology and furniture. Now, the other thing I would do is make the font size 12 here. Uh, I will unbold everything. I only want technology and furniture to be bold and their colors should be, so more colors. I will select, I want them to be blue. So I could use the tooltip and select this blue here, right? Because that's what I want. So, okay. Oh no, that blue is too light. All right, let's go back. Let's do that again. That blue is too light. Maybe I'll use this. Okay, Tableau is too light as well too. I needed, yeah, maybe. No. Oh, put it on bold, right? No, it's still too light. So I need a blue that is, yeah, maybe the system blue color would be better. Yeah, that's much better. Bold. So I ended up going with the system blue color. So you click OK. So you have it here. So it will look as if it's overlapping in your actual chat. But if you put this on entire view, all right, we could click on this and just drag it out, right? So we need to format this as well. So format, I am going to use single edge. The shading would be none. My border, I just want solid gray border. And then square, mm, yeah, yeah, so that's basically how I want it to look like. I could drag this, oops, no, drag that, yeah. Okay, so that's how we want it to look like at the end. And then finally, we could put our title. So we can just say Superstore Profit Gap between healthy and financial categories. So let's go with Tableau Book. Mm, maybe 18. And I will make this bold and remember that color and the furniture blue, bold. So, okay. So this here is our final um, output to create that shaded slope chart. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful to teach you how to create a shaded slope chart to compare two different um, categories based on two time intervals. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.